Hello, all my chickadees! Welcome back. Today we're going to be checking out A Date with Denial. Now, this is a spin-off to the game Be My Muse, which we played the demo of because it's still in development, but it's going to have the same character in it. Zacharias, I think, is how you pronounce his name. Yeah. And, this is a spin-off. It doesn't mean it's like part of the lore of the original game, but it was made for the 72-hour Murder Boy Mayhem jam, which I've already played a few games for, but I'm still working my way through there because there were some great entries. Now this one, it looks like it has 3 different endings, so as always, I'm gonna try to get them all. But besides that, I really don't know what's going on in here, except we see our Zacharias boy again. So we're going to dive on in and check this out. Alrighty, here we go. It looks like this is a fancy restaurant, though. Warning, this game contains depictions of blood and corpse, as well as a character that manipulates the player. Viewer discretion is advised. There you go. There's a warning. If any of that upsets you, please click away. I want all my chickadees to be safe. You see, I take the parts that I remember and stitch them back together to make a creature that will do what I say or love me back. Richard Silken. Yeah, we don't support people that manipulate others, but for the sake of the game, fantasy is fine, real life sucks. I could smell 2 distinct smells. The delicious, savory smell of food, and the familiar scent of candles burning. I sat up straight, and opened my eyes. Oh, there he is! Are you alright, my darling Muse? My eyes adjusted to the darkness. Hey, Zacharias! You appear rather bewildered. Was the wine a tad too strong? Who are you? In the dim candlelight, I could see the man's expression shift at the question. There was a brief look of offense and sorrow before he gave me a warm smile. Why, I am Zacharias, of course. We have known each other for quite a while, my Muse. In fact, we were in the middle of a dinner date before you appeared a little disoriented. Zacharias. That name did ring a bell. Do we have amnesia, or is this really the guy trying to pull one over on us? But as far as I know, I don't remember going on a date with someone by that name. Surely you have not forgotten. To ensure that you are alright, do you still remember your name at least? My name is... Spebo! We are a boy, so we remember something. That is quite a relief. You do seem to be a little less muddled right now. Perhaps we can continue with our lovely dinner date. Look at the food on your side of the table. Take a bite of your food. Yeah. Ooh, purple. Heck yeah. Ooh, a blood splatter. Is that foreshadowing things to come? Look at the food on your side of the table. Take a bite of your food. Let's look at it. Before me, on a large white plate, was my favorite food. Warm steam wafered up from it. It seemed that it was just freshly prepared. The smell was delicious. I could feel my stomach rumbling slightly. Beside my plate was a glass of wine, full and untouched. Look at the items on the table. The table contained 2 large plates, one before me and the other before Zacharias, as well as the usual accompanying cutlery. There was a bottle of wine, its label too difficult to read in the flickering candlelight, and a wine glass beside my plate. Zacharias' wine glass was in his hand. I made sure that your absolute favorite food has been prepared for you. Please, my muse, partake in the meal. We're just gonna keep looking at everything. We're gonna make him mad. Look at the clothes you're wearing. I look down at the clothes I'm wearing. Wait. Hang on. Am I just noticing this, or has, like, right here, his tablecloth, has it gotten more red? Or did I just not notice it? Because it looks like it's a deep red. It wasn't that red before, right? Or am I crazy? I don't remember owning such an expensive-looking formal wear. It was comfortable, however, fitting my form perfectly. I noted that the clothing was the same shade of white and yellow as Zacharias' suit, as far as I could tell in the dim candlelight. There was a fresh flower pinned on the breast of my clothing. Something the matter? You're not touching your food. We're looking at everything. Chill, boy. Chill. We just woke up. We're, checking out our surroundings, taking everything in. Just give me a minute. There's no stain on your suit, my muse. It's completely spotless and gorgeous. A fitting garment for someone as mesmerizing as you. Eat a bit more. Look at Zacharias' side of the table. I gazed over at the opposite side of the table where Zacharias sat. His plate, unlike mine, was empty. The glass in his hand was half full. Now and then he did a quick flick of his wrist to swirl the contents of the glass. Take a closer look at his wine glass. I stared at the wine glass in his hand. The liquid seemed a little more vicious than the wine in my glass and had a darker hue to it. That is blood. You are drinking blood, aren't you? Are you drinking blood? Zacharias noticed that I was staring. He gave his wrist another flick to swirl the contents in its wine glass. The liquid seemed to thin out as he did. Do partake in the wine as well, my muse. Or perhaps, if a strong drink is not to your dietary preference, I can request for the preparation of other drinks to your liking. Ask him why his plate is empty. Has your food been served yet? Your plate is empty. Oh, I've already finished my meal. I apologize, as it must seem rather rude for me not to consume my portions alongside you. But I beseech you not to rush with your meal. Take your time with it, my muse. I will be delighted to simply keep you company. His plate is completely clean. Yeah, he didn't eat it all, did he? He's lying. Now then, shall I obtain another drink that would be more suited to your taste, my muse? We're like not accepting any food or drink. My muse, ask him why he keeps calling you that. I, really appreciate you getting another drink for me, but why do you keep calling me your muse? Zacharias' eyes widened slightly. You have no recollection of it? I shook my head. He took a deep breath and sighed, looking a little sorrowful. I am sorry, my muse. But why are you sorry? However, instead of answering me, he perked up suddenly and gave me a grin. I noticed sharp teeth pointing out from beneath his lips. Do not fret. I'll be happy to remind you of such a lovely occasion again. You see, I am an artist, desperately searching for a muse for my crafts. We met, and you agreed to become an inspiration for my paintings and sculptures. Shift your focus upon that canvas. He placed his glass down and snapped his fingers. Okay, hello. Hello. I suddenly noticed a canvas, a small distance behind him that I didn't see him before. It was dark there a second ago. It seemed like a light from the ceiling suddenly turned on to reveal the canvas to me. Upon the canvas was a painting of me, beautiful and shockingly lifelike. I have been painting you before we began to feel rather peckish. I proposed to dine together with you, and you were delighted to accept. He picked up his glass again as he spoke, swirling the liquid within the glass. I suppose one could say that this is our first date. And I am honored, elated to dine with a muse of such charm and beauty as yourself. That grin's a little unsettling, dude. I don't remember any of that. But his deep, mellifluous voice was so soothing, so convincing that I could not help accepting everything he said. He's got charisma level 100, don't he? I nodded, not knowing what else to say. Oh, and it vanished. Bye, painting! Now then, shall I procure a more suitable drink for you, my dearest muse? What would you prefer? Perhaps a fragrant tea? Tea? I should have been saving all these. Okay. Tea, fruit juice, water. Let's have straight up water. Ah, of course. I shall return swiftly. Do enjoy the meal in the meantime. There's other tables behind you. Are we at like a restaurant? Shouldn't the waiter be coming to take care of that? He stood up, pushing back his chair noiselessly as he strode off somewhere behind me, taking his wine glass with him. His movements were unnaturally graceful, like that of a dancer. Look around you. Wait for Zacharias to return. We're gonna look. After he left, I finally began to take note of my surroundings. With him at the table, and specifically when he spoke to me, it felt like I had tunnel vision, only able to look and listen to him. The rest of the world around me seemed to have melted away. But now that he was gone, I could finally bring myself to look around. It seemed to be in a large, rather dark hall. I was startled and amazed to see that two of the walls were a glass wall, separating the hall from a massive body of water. So, like an aquarium? The ceiling was also made of glass. I hope it's thick glass. I could just see what seemed to be the surface of the water through it. It looked a lot like a large aquariums I used to visit as a child, but the water seemed to go on forever. I felt like I was in the middle of an ocean. We very well might be. There were tables similar to ours scattered around the hall. It appeared to be some sort of fancy restaurant. The only light in the hall came from the glass walls, as well as the candles on our table and the tables around ours. The water beyond the glass cast a blue, sickly-looking light on everything. Stand up and look around. I stood up, slowly moving towards one of the glass walls. As I passed by one of the tables, I noticed it was empty, even though the candles were lit and the table were set. All the tables were empty. I was the only one in the hall. I turned my attention to the water on the other side of the glass wall. The water was a greenish blue. It faded away into the darkness in the distance. There seemed to be a dim light coming from the surface of the water, shining down through the ceiling. What seemed to be lotus flowers floated on the surface of the water. There were no leaves or stalks, just flowers. So this isn't a natural area, right? So if it was just the flowers, they were put there on purpose. They weren't growing there. There were no fish of any sort in the aquarium. I could hear a distant noise. A very soft, continuous noise. It came from the water beyond the glass walls. I went closer to the glass walls and listened closely. It was the unmistakably the sound of a distant voice singing. The voice was far too distant for me to make out any words. All I could tell was that it was a deep voice. Zacharias? Is that you? And it was an absolutely beautiful voice. I felt myself standing completely still, one hand pressed on the cold glass wall, only wanting to listen to the voice. If I could, I wanted to break the glass wall to be closer to it, so I could hear what it was singing. But I was aware of how foolish that would be. Yeah, we'd be completely... We would drown. Haven't said anything about there being a door. Move away from the singing to look at the canvas. Keep listening to the singing. Okay. Let's look at the canvas. After some effort, I managed to pull away from the glass wall. I turned to where the canvas stood. The light that once shone down on it had been turned off, but I could still see my portrait in the faint blue glow. Zacharias was very good at painting. I stood before the canvas, admiring the painting but also thinking, trying to remember. I did recall agreeing to let him use me as an inspiration for his art, but how did I meet him? I struggled to think. In the back of my mind, hazy and distant, I began to remember empty corridors, empty rooms, empty halls, miles upon miles of a bizarre empty building, full of mismatching rooms, corridors, and stairs. Seeing him in one such empty location. So, this is a spin-off, okay? So it is following where we met him at the museum, and we were in an empty wing of the museum, accepting his invitation. And then, but what came before that? How did I enter such a place? I closed my eyes, trying hard to think. The singing, while faint distance, was making it difficult to hold on into any thoughts. He's a siren. He's taking away our thoughts. 4. There were 4 people. 4 of us. I could not remember the faces of the other 3. They were but hazy shadows in my mind. But I remember backpacks, sleeping bags, candles, bottles of water, entering an old building. Oh, so okay, so this isn't the same person from the first one, which makes sense. Suddenly the singing grew louder, much clearer. I opened my eyes and raised my head. I became aware that the voice was no longer coming from beyond the glass wall, but was now approaching from behind me. "Ha, my muse." The singing stopped, and I could hear Zacharias' familiar voice speaking to me. I turned around to see Zacharias standing behind me. In his hand was an ornate glass of water. "Were you perhaps searching for me? I'm dreadfully sorry for taking so long." He smiled politely, gesturing back towards our table. "Come, dine with me. We are about to have a lovely time together." He moved over to his seat, humming cheerfully as he did. Upon hearing his humming, I found myself walking back to the table. I wasn't even aware I was doing it. I was simply walking back without thinking. I sat down absent-mindedly, gazing at him. He settled down in his seat and took a sip from his wineglass. It seemed to have reappeared in his hand. I don't recall seeing him bringing it back to the hall when he returned with my drink. "After you've eaten your fill, we shall continue with the painting. And after that, if you're not too tired, perhaps you can listen to my singing. I wish to compose a song inspired by you, my lovely muse. So, perhaps you can help me." Yeah, that sounds nice. Zacharias? "Yes, love. Can I ask you some questions?" He don't seem too happy with that. "If it would please you, then of course, my dear muse. These clothes, there's something strange about them. What's unusual about your attire, my muse?" Oh my gosh, there's so many choices. "It's the same color as yours. I remember carrying a backpack." "That was a while ago. You have changed your attire since then." "But why was I carrying a backpack before this? I remember having a backpack with a sleeping bag and candles in it. Where are they?" He's like, you weren't supposed to remember that. "You mentioned that I was disoriented before this. What happened?" You simply fell unconscious. I was quite concerned, but unsure of what to do. I am relieved that you awoke after that. How did it happen? I believe it would be the strength of the wine. That's why I suggested to offer you a different drink with less body. I don't drink at all. My wine hasn't been touched at all. My food was still steaming hot when I woke up. All these are bangers. Oh my god, they're all really good points. Oh my god, which one should I choose? If you said my wine hasn't been touched, maybe it's like, well, you just got a fresh glass. My food was still steaming hot when I woke up. Well, you could be like, it just got delivered. But we're about, I don't drink at all. There is a first time for everything. You took a rather large sip before mentioning you did not feel well and fell unconscious. I couldn't deny that. After all, I had no memory of what came before that. Shall we continue with our dining? What is in your wine glass? It looks a bit different from the type in my glass. He gave an aside glance, swirling the drink in his glass again. It is similar, but no, it's a different type of wine, with an addition suited to my palate. I do not believe you'd enjoy it. You mentioned you finished your food before me. What did you eat? Meat. A dish of the meat variety. A steak. He's making it up as he goes. He's like, I ate meat. Yeah. It was a dish of the meat variety. Steak. Yeah, steak. Steak. Let's go with that. Yeah. My goodness. Your plate is completely clean. How did you finish your meal so quickly? But we can't remember. Your plate is completely clean. Oh, look at that. Look at that. We got him. We got him. His expression disturbed me. I could see his left hand trembling slightly as he tightened his grip on the wine glass. That is quite enough questions. I believe we can continue our conversation after the meal. Where are we right now? I've never seen this place before. We're in a lovely restaurant that I had booked prior to our dinner date. Oh, they're both bangers. Oh, they're such good choices. I want to pick them all, guys. Why are we underwater? This restaurant is surrounded by an aquarium. I do enjoy being close to the ocean. That's why I desired for a restaurant that looked like this. Why is the water so deep? The aquarium usually has fish in it. He is not liking our questions. Fish? Oh, yes. Aquatic life forms. I had quite forgotten. How do they look again? Dude, you said yourself you like aquariums. Aquariums have fish. Your story is falling apart. Oh no. This is completely made up, isn't it? You made this entire thing up. We're like in a dream or something, aren't we? He seemed very thrown off by my questions, glancing around frantically and muttering to himself. I suppose they removed the aquatic life from the tanks, for a reason or another. Zacharias had completely lost his usual calm composure. How long have we known each other? As I have mentioned, we have known each other for a while now. However, this is the first time we are dining together. No, I entered an abandoned building with 3 other people and met you there. No, you only painted the portrait of me, so we couldn't have met long. Okay. I believe that is enough questions. Perhaps it is time we had a different conversation. One that is less intrusive. But first you must sleep. Sleep and forget. Sleep and let your fears vanish. He began humming. Sleep, my muse. He sang to me, his voice growing gentle and soothing. Sleep and forget. I felt my eyelids growing heavy despite myself. I could not keep my head lifted up. Forget, and we shall do this all again. I felt my head resting on the table. Let us have a lovely date, with no suspicions or fear. My lovely muse. I can smell 2 distinct smells. How many times has he done this? Like resetting the whole thing. How many times has he done it? Is he just going to keep doing it until he gets it right? Loop. Ending 2. Oh, wow. That's crazy. Oh my god. Okay. Oh gosh. I don't even know where to start. Okay. Let's take a bite of my food this time. Before me on a large white plate was my favorite food. Warm. Okay. I picked up my fork and I took a bite of my meal. It tasted incredible. Exactly the way I liked it prepared. We're just gonna keep eating this time. Zacharias smiled as he watched me eat. It was a warm, loving smile, but it twisted a little more than it should, showing off his surprisingly sharp teeth. I do hope you savor each bite. Do partake in the wine as well, my muse. Or perhaps, if a strong drink is not to your dietary preference, I could request for the preparations of other drinks to your liking. Accept the drink? I'd like another type of drink if it's okay. Of course! Anything to make you happy, dearest muse. What would you prefer? Perhaps a fragrant tea? Yeah, let's take tea. Of course. I shall return swiftly. Do enjoy the meal in the meantime. He stood up, pushing back his chair noiselessly, and strode off somewhere. Let's just wait this time. I sat still, staring at the candles on the table. In the distance, I could hear a faint, continuous noise. So this time we're just sitting here. I listened to it silently, finding my eyelids growing a little heavy as I did. It was such a beautiful song. Suddenly the singing grew louder, much clearer. I opened my eyes and raised my head. I became aware that the voice was no longer... Okay. Okay, so... Oh! Okay, go back. I smiled back at him for the first time. He seemed overjoyed to see my smile. His gold eyes lit up and his toothy grin widened. Will you stay with me, my muse? I felt myself nodding. Any fear and any desire to remember why I was here, how I met Zacharias, and why I was unconscious at the table faded away. I was happy to simply continue an eternal dinner date with him. Denial! Ending 1. Okay, so denial was the easiest. Loop is like you're questioning everything and he doesn't like it, and he's just like, okay, let's start again. What can the third one be? Ooh, what do we try breaking the glass? I don't know where that was. Was it here? Keep listening to the singing. I wanted to pull myself away from the glass wall to get away from the singing, but I found that I could not. It was as if my feet were rooted to the floor and my hands were stuck fast to the glass wall. I could only listen and listen. I began to forget why I was standing there. Okay. Okay, and it looks like it goes straight to this again. Okay, and then we're going to questions. Okay, let's say it's the same color as yours. I picked out your clothing to match mine. It felt appropriate for a dinner date after all. That seemed to make sense. You mentioned that I was disoriented before. What happened? Okay. My food was still steaming hot when I woke up. You were not unconscious for an extended amount of time, I suppose. Okay, now we're asking about his wine glass. How did you finish your meal so quickly? He gave me a small, sheepish grin. I'm a quick eater. I enjoy the taste of meat and finished the dish before you started yours, and before you fell unconscious. I apologize for not waiting for you to start your meal. Now, please enjoy your meal, as I have enjoyed mine. Where are we right now? I've never seen this place before. Okay. Why are there no other customers? I suppose there is a low number of clients today. It is quite an exclusive location after all. Oh, this is a new one. This is a new one. Ha! We've gotten father. I haven't seen any staff either. You had to get the drink yourself. How did you afford to book this place? Oh, he didn't like that. How long have we known each other? Okay. Okay, you only made one portrait! Okay. Alright, that didn't work well. Okay, we were getting father. How did you afford to book this place? Perhaps it is wiser to not ask your partner how wealthy they are, yes? How long have we known each other? So I'll reach the dead end again. Dang it. I think I was doing well. I got a little farther that time. Okay, so neither one of those. Let's go back to this one. Oh, what happens when we say fruit juice? Look around you. Stand up. Look at the canvas. And he's back. Okay. Well, wine hasn't been touched at all. Why are we underwater? Why is the water so deep? The aquarium is connected to the ocean, I suppose. That is why the water runs so deep. He was clearly beginning to grow a little frustrated by my questions. What he said didn't really make it no sense to me, but I did not know what else to ask in response. Dang it! What am I missing here? Okay, I gotta think for a minute here, guys. Hang on. Okay. I think I figured it out. Okay, so we just piss him off. That's how we get the last ending. We just need to piss him off. So move away from the singing. I remember carrying a backpack. My wine hasn't been touched at all. Your plate is completely clean. Why are there no other customers? I haven't seen any staff. You've only painted one portrait of me. There we go! The loud noise of glass splintering made me jump. I think you gripped it a little too hard there, buddy. You good? Zacharias had squeezed the wine glass so tightly that it shattered in his palm. The strange, vicious wine mixed with the dark red blood from his palm, stained with his white sleeve. He stared at me unblinking. He did not speak. He did not move. He simply sat still, glaring, as blood and wine flowed down his arm. I slowly got out of my seat. But he did not move. Still he did not move, but his eyes never left me. I began to make my way towards the doors to the hall, cautiously turning around and again to see his reaction. Only his head moved to watch my movements. The rest of his body remained as still as a statue. We broke him! We broke him! I pushed open the door slowly. At that moment, I heard his chair scraping against the floor, followed by a horrible crash as if he'd thrown the chair at the table. I didn't look back. I just fled through the door and down the corridor beyond. The corridor seemed to stretch on forever. They twisted and turned, sometimes opening up to large empty halls, sometimes becoming so narrow that I had to squeeze myself through them. Oh, my darling Muse, return to me, my love. Zacharias' voice floated down the corridor, half talking, half singing, sounding beautiful and alluring. We were having such a lovely time. I kept running until... Hello? They were my friends, but there's 4 of them. I thought you said you remember. Oh, you remembered 4 people, so you remembered 4 people besides yourself. Of course, you wouldn't include yourself being like, hey, there was 4 people, you know. Okay. He killed all of them and kept you. The flesh had been stripped off some parts of them, their limbs torn off seemingly by sharp fangs. Boy! Boy, did you go nuts on them? My memories came flooding back in an instant. Ever since we met years ago, we have loved exploring old buildings and abandoned places. We would camp out in the buildings overnight, sometimes 2. So we would bring candles, some food, and sleeping bags in our backpacks. I recalled one day we entered a condemned building, shunned even by other groups of people who enjoyed exploring abandoned locations. It started like any other normal exploration, until we noticed that the building seemed far larger than it looked on the outside. It's the TARDIS! It's the TARDIS effect! Miles upon miles of rooms and corridors, some empty, some sparsely decorated with old furniture, strange statues and framed paintings. We could not find our way out no matter how we tried. And then we met him, Zacharias. Strange man dressed in a spotless white suit in the middle of an endless abandoned building. How? He was singing to himself, standing in the middle of one of the empty rooms. And at that moment, all 4 of us seemed to forget why we were there, why we were trying to find our way out. He beckoned us, and we followed him. He offered us food and drink that seemed to have appeared from nowhere. And then he said he wanted to pick one of us to be an inspiration for his next art piece. My memory of what happened after that was hazy, but I recall being separated from my 3 other friends. 3? There's 4 people there. There's 4 people. Sitting in an armchair, watching him paint a portrait of me. Enjoying his lovely singing in between his interesting conversations with me. Seeing him leave the room and hearing distant screams, but never questioning what they were. Oh, goodness. He definitely had us in like a trance. Yeah, he was just like, do, I'm gonna paint you. Hang on, let me go kill your friend. Okay, I'm back. Do. Why? As I paused to take in the horror and disgust, I felt 2 arms wrapping around my waist. I slumped backwards into his warm, tall body. losing all hope. Come, my lovely muse. Let us continue our dinner date, shall we? Recapture, ending 3. Oh. Oh goodness. Yeah, he's definitely. Oh wow. So, we don't know. Oh dang, I think they did say what he was in the excuse me. I think they did say like what species he might have been in the demo for Be My Muse. But yeah, he clearly isn't human. He has some supernatural powers, like wow. And he killed our friends and he decided to use us. Why was there 4 bodies? It said 3 friends and then it was 4 bodies. Was there another guy and we were just like, yeah, you're not our friend. Do. Huh. Or could that actually be our body and we're no longer connected to flesh? I got so many questions, but this was nice. It was nice and spooky. That was a cool reveal right there at the end. I'm glad we got all the endings. As always, I'm going to have a link down below so you can come check this out for yourself. And remember to go check out Be My Muse. It was like nice. Nice and intense. And I'm looking forward to seeing like where the story goes from here. And learning more about Zacharias because boy, he has a lot going on. Alright, I hope you enjoyed and I will see you in the next one. Bye!